Why do astronauts age slower? And why is the real answer unsettling? Astronauts don't merely feel younger when they come home by tiny, measurable amounts. They have literally lived less time than you did. That sentence should bother you because it means the universe doesn't hand out the same now to everyone. You were taught time is a river. Einstein looked at the river and said, "It's not a river, it's a map." Picture this. You stay on Earth, scrolling, breathing, watching days stack up like identical bricks. Meanwhile, someone straps into a machine that moves insanely fast, circles the planet, and returns. Common sense screams, same days, same hours, same aging. But the cosmos doesn't care about your common sense. The first disturbing clue is simple. Light never compromises. No matter how you chase it, light's speed stays the same. And to keep that one rule intact, reality quietly sacrifices the thing you were absolutely sure was solid, time itself. Here's the trap your brain falls into. You think a second is a second because your heartbeat agrees with your clock. But Einstein's claim is colder. A second is only what your motion allows it to be. Move faster, and your seconds stretch compared to mine. Not because your body cheats, but because space-time is balancing its books like an accountant that refuses to let the numbers contradict. And the strangest part, you can't feel the theft. Inside the spaceship, everything seems normal. Your thoughts, your pulse, your memories all flowing smoothly. Which raises the terrifying question. If you can live through a perfectly normal experience while time itself bends around you, how many versions of now are happening in this moment? In a second, we'll build the simplest logic trap Einstein ever set. A thought experiment so clean it feels unfair. It forces the universe to choose either light is lying or your intuition about aging is. And once you see which one must break, you'll never look at birthdays, years, or the word old. The same way, if this is already messing with your head, pause for a second and tell me something in the comments. Do you feel like time is universal, or do you suspect it's personal? Because that one belief decides whether Einstein's astronaut aging sounds like a cute fact, or a direct attack on how you think reality works. And here's why your engagement actually matters on a topic like this. Most people learn relativity as a trivia headline is slower than, move on. But if you truly understand what's happening, it changes how you interpret everything from GPS to black holes to the meaning of right now. So comment a short phrase so I know you're tracking the idea. Try this. Comment time is not a river if you're following the logic so far. Also hit like if you want more videos that turn physics into an existential mirror. And subscribe because the next twist is where this stops being a space story and becomes a story about you. In the next part, we're going to set a trap using nothing but a beam of light and two people moving different. And you'll watch aging. Split into two incompatible answers, both correct at the same time. Imagine two people, both honest, both using perfect clocks, both watching the same universe yet. When they compare notes, they disagree about how much time has passed. That sounds like a contradiction. In everyday life, contradictions mean someone is wrong. Einstein's insight was far more disturbing. In this case, no one is wrong. The mistake lives in your intuition itself. Your brain evolved in a slow, heavy world. You walk, you stop, you turn around, Dan time politely behaves. So you quietly assume time is a background feature, like air, always there, always the same. But the moment you push speed to extremes, that assumption collapses. Einstein didn't start with astronauts or rockets. He started with a rule so simple it feels innocent. The laws of physics must look the same too. All observers and light must travel at the same speed for all of them. No exceptions ever. Now watch what happens when common sense walks into that rule. Picture a flash of light bouncing between two mirrors inside a moving spaceship. To the astronaut, the light goes straight up and down. To you, on Earth, the ship is moving sideways, so the light traces a longer, diagonal path. Same light, same speed, longer path. There's only one escape route for reality. Time inside the ship must slow down. This is where intuition panics. You want to say the astronaut's clock is broken, but from inside the ship, your clock is the one that looks wrong. And here's the trap. Both views are equally valid. There is no cosmic referee tapping a universal clock behind the scenes. The universe allows multiple timelines to coexist, stitched together by motion itself. This is the deadly mistake of common sense. Believing that time exists first and motion happens inside it. Einstein flipped that order. Motion helps create time. Aging becomes something that depends on how you move through space-time, not something the universe hands out evenly. And once you accept that, an even more humiliating paradox appears, one where two twins part ways and come back unequal. Not because one cheated, but because the universe itself kept two different scores. Before we spring that paradox, I want to know, does this already feel wrong to you? If so, you're exactly where Einstein wanted you. At this point, your brain is probably trying to negotiate. Maybe time slows down a little. Maybe it's just a technical detail. But Einstein's idea of speed isn't a small correction, it's a structural assault. Speed doesn't gently influence time. It actively Here's the unsettling part. Nothing about your body changes when you move fast. Your cells don't struggle. Your thoughts don't blur. Your heart doesn't warn you. From the inside, life feels perfectly normal. Yet, from the outside, something impossible is happening. Your aging rate is no longer synchronized with the rest of the universe. The faster you move, the more space-time tilts in your favor, letting you slide through less time than someone who stayed behind. This is where people make another intuitive error. They imagine speed as motion through space only. Einstein forces a correction. Motion is always through space-time, and space-time has a fixed budget. If you spend more of it moving through space, you have less left to move through time. That trade-off isn't philosophical, it's mechanical, relentless, automatic. Think about how disturbing that is. Aging is no longer a universal process, ticking away in the background. It becomes a path-dependent phenomenon. Two people can start together, separate briefly. Reunite in the universe calmly tells them they did not live the same amount of life. Not metaphorically, literally. And this isn't a thought experiment hiding in textbooks. Every satellite orbiting Earth is aging differently than you right now. Engineers must constantly correct their clocks because speed alone is enough to desynchronize reality. If they didn't, navigation systems would drift, coordinates would lie, and modern life would fracture quietly. But speed is only the first betrayal. Just when you think you understand why astronauts age slower, Einstein pulls the rug again. Because even standing still isn't safe. You can slow time without moving at all simply by existing closer to mass. Gravity, it turns out, has its own way of stealing years. And that's where the story becomes far more disturbing than motion ever was. Now we're ready for the idea that feels like a prank on logic. The twin paradox. Two twins are born at the same moment. One stays on Earth, the other leaves on a high-speed journey through space, turns around, and comes back. When they reunite, one twin is younger. Not emotionally, not biologically by chance. Physically younger by measurable time. Your intuition rebels instantly. But speed is relative, it says. From the traveler's perspective, Earth was moving. So shouldn't Earth age less? This is where the paradox earns its reputation. It sounds like a stalemate. Two viewpoints. Two clocks. Who loses time? The humiliating answer is this. Symmetry was never real. One twin changes frames, one doesn't. The traveling twin accelerates, turns around, and breaks the balance. And acceleration isn't just motion, it's a shift in how itself is stitched together. The universe doesn't care about fairness. It cares about geometry. Here's what makes this deeply unsettling. Aging stops being something you experience and becomes something the universe calculates globally. You can feel normal every second of your life and still return having lived less. The clock didn't slow because you noticed it. It slowed because space-time forced it to. And notice what quietly dies here. The idea of a universal present. During the journey, each twin slices space-time into different nows. When the traveler turns around, their slice jumps violently across Earth's timeline, skipping years in an instant. No explosion, no sensation, just a sudden reassignment of what counts as now. This isn't a storytelling trick. It's the cleanest demonstration that the present is not a shared layer of reality. It's observer-dependent, fragile, negotiable. If that feels deeply wrong, good, because Einstein wasn't finished humiliating intuition. Yet, motion isn't the only thing that breaks time. You don't need rockets. You don't need speed. You just need mass. Gravity alone can stretch seconds into something unrecognizable. And once you see that aging slower stops being an astronaut problem and becomes a property of where you stand in the universe. Up to now, you could still tell yourself a comforting story. Fine. Time slows when you move fast, but I'm standing still. Einstein removes that escape hatch because, according to general relativity, you don't need speed to distort time. You only need gravity, and gravity is everywhere. Here's the unsettling shift. Gravity is not a force pulling on clocks. It's mass bending space-time itself. And when space-time bends, time does not flow evenly across it. The closer you are to mass, the slower time passes. Not metaphorically, not approximately, literally, measurably, relentlessly. That means your feet are aging slower than your head right now. The difference is tiny, but it exists. And once you accept that, the universe becomes deeply asymmetric. Time is no longer a smooth, shared background. It's a landscape with slopes and wells. Some regions drain time faster. Others protect it. This is why astronauts don't just age slower because they die moving fast. They're also farther from Earth's gravitational grip. Less gravity, less curvature, faster time compared to clocks on the ground. The result is eerie. Orbiting astronauts experience a different blend of than you do sitting still. Motion and gravity quietly negotiate how much life you're allowed to accumulate. And this isn't theoretical. Atomic clocks placed on airplanes, mountains, and satellites tick at different rates. Engineers must constantly reconcile them. Because if they don't, reality, itself, navigation, communication, synchronization starts lying. GPS works only because Einstein was right about gravity stealing seconds. Here's the emotional punch. Aging is no longer something your body decides. It's something the universe assigns based on where you are in a curved space-time map. Two people can live side by side, take different elevators, different flights, different orbits, and end up with different amounts of lived time. And now comes the truly disturbing question. If gravity edits time, what happens? Near extreme gravity. What happens when space-time is bent so hard that time nearly stops? That's where black holes enter the story not as monsters, but as the clearest proof that time itself is a fragile, negotiable resource. If gravity can slow time, then black holes aren't just cosmic oddities. They are time machines that reveal the limit of reality itself. Near a black hole, space-time is bent so violently that time doesn't merely slow down. It nearly freezes. From far away, an astronaut falling toward a black hole appears to move slower and slower, their clock ticking more and more lazily, as if reality is hesitating to let them cross a line. To a distant observer, the fall never quite finishes. The astronaut seems suspended, aging at a crawl, trapped at the edge of time itself. But here's the twist that breaks intuition again. From the astronaut's own perspective, nothing special happens at that boundary. Their heart beats normally. their thoughts flow. Time feels ordinary to perfectly valid experiences, to incompatible time. The universe refuses to choose one true version. This reveals something deeply disturbing. Time is not an absolute process happening everywhere at once. It's local, contextual, dependent on the geometry of space-time around you. Near extreme gravity, the universe stretches the definition of now until it nearly snaps. And notice what quietly disappears here. The idea that there is a master clock behind reality. There isn't. Black holes expose that illusion brutally. Different regions of the universe experience radically different temporal structures, and there is no global moment tying them together. This is why astronauts aging slower isn't a curiosity, it's a symptom. A hint that aging itself is negotiable. If spacetime can almost halt time near black holes, then how old you are is not a universal fact. It's a local agreement between you and the geometry you inhabit. And now we reach the most uncomfortable question of all. If time can slow, stretch, fracture, and nearly stop, what does that say about you? About identity, memory, continuity? Are you a single object persisting through time, or a sequence stitched together by a fragile space-time rule? That question leads us to the final blow. Not about astronauts, not about gravity, but about what it even means to exist from one moment to the next. At this point, astronauts age slower should no longer sound like a fun science fact. It's a crack in the foundation of identity itself. Because if time does not flow universally, then the question, how old are you, is not as objective as you think. It depends on the path you took through space-time, and that should feel deeply unsettling. You experience life as a smooth story, past behind you, future ahead, a solid now carrying your identity forward. Einstein quietly dismantled that narrative. In relativity, there is no single thread of time stitching the universe together. There are countless threads, each tied to motion, gravity, and perspective. You are not moving through one shared timeline, you are tracing your own. That means aging is not a universal river carrying everyone forward equally. It's a personal trajectory, a space-time fingerprint. Two people can be born together, share memories, separate briefly, reunite. The universe calmly tells them they are no longer the same age. Not because biology failed, because reality never promised fairness. This reframes something intimate. You don't exist in time. Time is part of how you exist. Your memories, your sense of continuity, your feeling of being the same person yesterday and today, all of that is local construction, stable enough to survive daily life, fragile enough to collapse under extreme conditions. Einstein never said time is an illusion in the sense that it's fake. It's worse than that. Time is real, but not fundamental in the way your intuition demands. There is no cosmic present keeping everyone synchronized. No universal clock validating your now. The universe allows different versions of reality to coexist, stitched together only when observers meet again. So, when astronauts return younger, they aren't cheating time. They're revealing its true nature. Aging slower is not a loophole, it's a confession. Reality does not work the way your brain expects it to if you made it this far. You're already thinking about time differently than most people ever will, so don't just leave silently. Subscribe right now, because this channel is basically a controlled demolition of the obvious universe you grew up believing in, and the next video goes even deeper into the illusion of now, light, and what reality is allowed to be. And I want one specific comment from you, so I know you stayed until the end. Comment time is local, or if this genuinely disturbed you, comment the now is a lie. I read those, and they help push this kind of content to more curious minds who are ready for the uncomfortable truth. Also, hit like if this changed how you think about aging, birthdays, and what a year even means. It takes 1 second, and it tells the algorithm you. Want more videos that don't just explain physics, they challenge your entire sense of reality. Now, don't stop here, watch the next video that's on your screen right now. Because if astronauts can come back younger, the next question is unavoidable. What else about your everyday reality is quietly, mathematically wrong?